Earlier, we were discussing regarding the determination of primary structure of the proteins, and under that one, we were discussing regarding the how to determine the number of different polypeptide chains which are present in the protein, and we were also determining the amino acid composition of the proteins. And here, after that one, we need to understand the how we are going to sequence the proteins. And here, in this case, we cannot able to directly sequence the proteins or the polypeptide chains, and here those polypeptide chains are the proteins has to be fragmented with the help of the different proteolytic enzymes, and here those small fragments it can be sequenced directly. We cannot able to sequence the polypeptide chains directly, and so here for that purpose, so here before the sequencing, here all the polypeptide chains or the proteins has to be subjected to the different proteolytic enzymes, and which is going to produce the fragments, and here those fragments resulting from the action of the proteases is sequenced separately by different methods. For example, the Edmonds method or the mass spectrometry. And here we need to understand the what are the different proteolytic enzymes used to produce the fragments. And for example, the trypsin is there, and here this trypsin, so here all these proteolytic enzymes they will be having the specific sites in the protein. So here at that site only they are going to cleave the proteins into fragments. For example, the trypsin it is going to cleaves on the carboxyl terminal of the arginine and the lysine residue, whereas the chymotrypsin it is going to cleaves on the carboxyl terminal side of the bulky hydrophobic residues such as the phenylalanine, tryptophan, and the tyrosine. Whereas the elastase it is going to cleaves on the carboxyl terminal of the small neutral residues such as alanine, glycine, and the serine. Whereas the thermolysin which is going to cleaves on the amino side of the isoleucine, methionine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, tyrosine, and the valine. Whereas the pepsin, it is going to cleave on the amino terminal side of the leucine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, and the tyrosine. Whereas the endopeptidase arginine C, it is going to cleave on the carboxyl side of the arginine. Whereas the endopeptidase aspartic acid N, it is going to cleave on the amino terminal side of the aspartic acid residue. Whereas the endopeptidase glutamic acid C, it is going to cleave on the carboxyl side of the glutamic acid residue. Whereas the endopeptidase lysine C, it is going to cleaves on the carboxyl side of the lysine residue. So here all these different proteolytic enzymes, they are highly specific in their target sites. And here apart from the proteolytic enzymes, some of the chemical reagents are there. All those chemical reagents are also highly specific in their cleavage site. For example, cyanogen bromide. Cyanogen bromide it is going to cleave on the carboxyl side of the methionine residue specifically. So here by using these different proteolytic enzymes, the proteins or the polypeptide chains are going to be cleaved into fragments, and here those fragments are separated and purified, and it will be subjected to sequencing by the different methods. Now we are going to discuss about the sequencing method. Here under that one, the one method which includes the Edmonds method, and it is also called as the Edmonds degradation. And here this process was developed by Per Edmond, and here the Edmonds reagent is nothing but the phenyl thiocyanate. And here this phenyl isothiocyanate is reacted with the free N-terminal amino group of the proteins under mildly alkaline condition and going to produce the phenyl thiocarbamyl adduct. And here this adduct is then treated with the strong anhydrous trifluoroacetic acid that leaves only the terminal residue as its thiazolinone derivative. But here it is going to but the rest of the polypeptide chain will be remain intact. And here this Edmond degradation therefore releases the N-terminal residue but leaves intact the rest of the polypeptide chain. The thiazolinone amino acid is selectively extracted into an organic solvent, and it is converted into the more stable phenyl thioadenine derivative by the treatment with aqueous acids. And here this after this one, this PTH amino acid is identified with the help of the HPLC by comparing its retention time with those of the known standard PTH amino acids. So here by using the standard PTH, the known PTH amino acid, so here we are going to compare the PTH amino acid derived from the Edmonds procedure, and comparing its retention time on the HPLC, we can able to identify the which amino acid is present in the sample. And here this technique can sequence many residues, up to the 40 residues in a single polypeptide chain. And here this is the reaction, and here in this reaction the phenyl isothiocyanate, it is going to react with the free N-terminal residue, which is hanging to the free amino group over here. And here this free amino group, which is hanging to the lone pair of electron, it is going to react with the carbon atom in the phenyl isothiocyanate, and going to form the phenyl thiocarbamyl polypeptide chain. And here after the treatment with the trifluoroacetic acid, only the N-terminal amino acid residue, which is bonded with the phenyl isothiocyanate, is separated, whereas the rest of the polypeptide chain is intact. And here this the amino acid which is undergo cyclization and going to form the thiazolinone derivative. And here under the aqueous acid, this thiazolinone derivative will be converted into the phenyl thiohydrantoin amino acid. This phenyl thiohydrantoin amino acid will be separated and purified, and it is detected in the HPLC by using the known standard PTH amino acid. Whereas the rest of the polypeptide chain will be again subjected to the Edmonds procedure. And here now the phenyl isothiocyanate will be comes and bind to the second free amino group, which is present over here, and the same procedure will be continues. And here by doing this way, we can able to sequence the polypeptide chain up to the 40 residue by using the Edmonds procedure. And here now after the sequencing, so here we were going to get the sequence information of the different peptide fragments. And here those peptide fragments has to be arranged, and we need to deduce the entire sequence of the amino acid of the polypeptide chain. And here in this case, each peptide fragment resulting from the action of different proteases is sequenced separately, as we discussed earlier, with the help of the Edmonds procedure. And here the amino acid sequence of the one set of peptide fragments resulted from the action of the one type of proteolytic enzyme is compared with that of the second set of fragments, which is produced from the other type of the proteolytic enzymes. And here these different set of fragments are the peptide fragments. So here they will be having the overlapping sequences. And here if you are going to looking for the overlapping sequences, we can able to deduce the entire sequence of the polypeptide chain. For example, if you look at here, so here a protein is there, it is subjected to the two different proteolytic enzymes, such as trypsin and the chymotrypsin. And here these are the fragment obtained from the trypsin, and here these are the fragments which are obtained from the chymotrypsin. And here after sequencing these fragments, so here we got the sequence information of the fragments. And here after this one, we need to align these fragments. And here these fragments, they are having the overlapping sequences. And here this is the fragment obtained from the chymotrypsin treatment, and here this is the fragment which is obtained from the trypsin treatment. And here both of them are having the overlapping sequences. And here the glutamine alanine and the phenylalanine is there in the chymotrypsin fragment, and here the same glutamine alanine and the phenylalanine, it is also there in the trypsin treatment. So that here these two are having the overlapping sequences. And here this fragment, it is having the valine, lysine and the glycine and the tyrosine residue. And here in this case, it is they are having the valine, lysine as the overlapping sequences, and we can able to arrange it. And here after this one, the glycine and the tyrosine residue it is also overlapping. And here by combining all these or by arranging all these overlapping sequence, we can able to deduce the sequence of the entire polypeptide chain over here. So here by ordering all these fragments by looking for the overlapping sequences, we can able to deduce the entire sequence of the polypeptide chain. Thank you.